that in the interest of time and the fairness to all speakers, we limit everyone to 2 minutes. Please be aware that there will be a warning beep to remind you that you have 30 seconds to conclude your remarks. The first speaker will be Maddie Bucky's Highline, followed by Peter Fichetti.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Dr. Rizzo, and thank you for subbing in for for Chair Blanca Lopez. My name is Maddie Bucky's Highland. I'm an advocate for people with disabilities. As 2024 draws to a close, as we begin to embark on 2025, it is important that diversity counts and diversity matters. Though. We can't disadvantage because after the civil rights movement, the 1950s and 60s, against minorities, particularly African Americans, people who have disabilities are still the most discriminated against, even at school. With when you have special education administrators telling you to do so, it's good that the Metropolitan Transportation understands diversity. As I mentioned before, and I'll say this again, it's not your father or your grandfather's MTA. It's now your MTA. So please, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy New Year in 2025. God bless you. Thank you.
The next speaker is Peter Fichetti. Chair, that concludes the public comment session.
Next, we have the approval of the September 24th Diversity Committee meeting minutes. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Excellent. All in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. Any opposition? Hearing none. Minutes are approved. Excellent. Are there any updates on the 2024 work plan, Chair?
Mr. Chairman, the 2024 work plan can be found on pages 6 through 8 of the committee workbook, and there are no further updates. We are also sharing the 2025 work plan for review, which can be found on pages 9 through 11 of the committee workbook. There are two key additions to our calendar year work plan, the first being that we will be working with the committee and the MTA's Chief Accessibility Officer to add reporting on MTA's accessibility efforts. This may lead to a charter update at the end of this next calendar year. Our work plan anticipates our first report to the committee on these efforts at our first 2025 meeting in March. We will also be launching our MWBE task force later this month and have added periodic reporting on their efforts at various points throughout the year.
Thank you so much for that. Can you take us through the executive summary, please?
Yes, sir. Thank you. This afternoon, I'll be leading our presentation and discussions with the support of my colleagues and the leadership team at DDCR, starting with our Deputy Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer, Dr. Rosalind Green, who's also joined by our D&I Director, Barbara Cockfield, Deputy Chief CDO for Technology Operations, DBE Certification and Outreach, Christine Norman, and Deputy Chief Contract Compliance Director, Ray Burke. Also, I'm pleased to introduce you to the newest member of our DDCR senior leadership team, Evita Marrow. Evita is joining the DDCR team. This is, I think, her third day at work with us. She will be leading our D&I efforts as well as our EO data management and tracking. Just want to give Evita a moment if she'd like to say a few words.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. It's a pleasure to sit here before each of you. I'm excited to jump right into the role, and I'm looking forward to working with all of my talented colleagues. So thank you.
Thank you, Evita. We'll next be moving on to our MTA-wide EEO activities and Q3 reporting, and I'll be asking Dr. Green to make her report.
Good afternoon. In comparison to third quarter 2023, the MTA workforce size has increased by 3%. Overall, both minority and female representation has increased by 1 percentage point. Representation for veterans decreased from 2,141 employees in 2023 to 2,003 employees in 2024. Those who self-identified as persons with disabilities increased from 686 in 2023 to 752 in 2024.
Excellent.
MTA agencies hired 5,237 new employees into the organization, of which 25% self-identified as female, 85% identified as minority, 2% identified as veteran, and we increased employees who self-identified by as an individual with a disability by 30 employees. A breakdown of the MTA workforce is detailed on pages 39 through 58 of the Diversity Committee book. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Green. I don't know if there are any questions from the committee. Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, maybe I misheard you. Did you say there was a 100-person drop in veterans in the period, 2,100 and something to 2003?
Yes, sir, I did. It's from the same time period, September 30th, 2023, we reported 2,141 veterans. And
Okay.
when we look today, we have 2,003.
So that's a 6% drop in 1 year. That's the kind of size of a drop that, for the size of our organization, that's one that is notable.
Absolutely.
So can we get some intel as to why? Because if it was 2 or 3 percentage points, I probably wouldn't notice it, but when I see a 5, 6%, that seems just, there must be a reason. That doesn't seem like it. I mean, maybe there's not, but that seems like it's worthy of some digging.
We will absolutely look into that and report back
Thank
to
you,
you.
thank you.
Any other questions for members of the board? Our next report will move on to 2024-2025 MW and DBE and STVOB program activity. We'll be starting with a report on our Small Business Development Program. I'll be asking Deputy Chief Owens to make that report.
Sure. Good morning, everybody. Oh, good afternoon. Oh, geez, okay. These are some updates to the RFP schedule. DDCR and C&D have partnered to review and analyze 4 submissions to the MTA Small Business Development Program, RFP, released on March 11, 2024. The team has reviewed and concurred in the selection of WSP McKissick's JV team as the preferred vendor to continue work on the MTA Small Business Mentoring Program beginning in the calendar year of 2025. Their proposal will formally be submitted for adoption by the full board and the Finance Committee later this afternoon in an upcoming meeting. Some of the key changes presented to the board, Some of the key changes presented to the program for Scope B are rebranding the Small Business Development Program to the MTA EDGE program, which stands for Expansion, Development, Growth, and Equity Program, added contract compliance staff, flexibility and training courses, development alumni program, established business assistant partnerships, and specific and quantified performance metrics of success. In addition to key changes to the program, WSP McKissick's proposal confirmed their efforts towards advancing the Small Business Development Program through the enhancement of existing programs and expertise in regard to the Small Business Enterprise, MWBE, and SDVOB engagement and growth, classroom training, construction management, the full integration of Scope A and Scope B, enhanced curriculum, highly trained staff for mentee advancement, attraction/retention to new mentees, postgraduate support services, ongoing performance management, MTA know-how, and lessons learned from regional programs. WSP McKissick proposed a robust and enhanced training program that will provide educational modules for one-on-one advising opportunities. These opportunities will be made available to participants to account for individual needs and circumstances and to help them adapt program takeaways appropriately. Here are some examples of the proposed trainings: business management, human resources, marketing and strategic direction, financial management, financial reporting, budgeting and forecasting, and construction project management, construction of the technical process, and safety practices and management. Those are a few key takeaways. And this slide is a sample of the database that they are improving project success for the mentees in the program. WSP will provide a reports database, which is new, that will enable a dashboard display of the project's grading, help identify issues and trends on the micro and macro level, and give a snapshot of the contractor's program performance. These are all added ideas to the program. This is what the sample of what the dashboard looks like for different parts of the program. WSP McKissick presented samples of data-driven customizable dashboards for the MTA staff and mentees at no cost to the MTA. These dashboards provide holistic insight into the program's life cycle, from extensive outreach before admission, the pre-qualification phase, admission, enrollment, and post-graduation. Some qualitative methods that were presented were success story case studies, project quality assessment, mentee satisfaction surveys to let us know how we're doing with the program, postgraduate participation. So after the participants graduate the program, we'll track and continue their success to see if we're getting a return on our investment, direct and indirect induced jobs, and the EDGE brand recognition. Lastly, this is an out view of the postgraduate support program. As a new initiative to the Small Business Development Program, the MTA required a robust graduate program to ensure that we provide ongoing strategies and opportunities for the growth of program alumni. WSP McKissick presented a range of services tailored to the needs of the program alumni, including the development of alumni database aimed at fostering continuous engagement and tracking of the progress of the firms that have previously benefited from the program. Annual events to celebrate postgraduate achievements and integrate current mentees and stakeholders. Postgraduate assistance with forming associations, joint ventures, and other advanced contract opportunities. And last but not least, continuing education. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you to Deputy Chief Owens. Just to put a fine point on it to the committee, we really did a lot of work through the development of the RFP to make sure that we really strengthened the small business mentoring program, not only bringing this program into, is it the 21st century, or we're in 21 already, right? 21st century, bringing the program into the it is an incredibly successful program that started in 2010. So we were really ripe for some advancement, for some strengthening of the program, making it much more competitive, responsive to the needs of our classroom and our program participants and the small businesses that we're serving. And Cherie and her team have done an amazing job of really coming through with a program that will be strengthened, will be providing us an opportunity to secure and develop specific metrics and milestones so that we're ensuring that our vendors are providing quality services to our small businesses, and we're really looking forward to a very, very robust program moving forward. We're very excited about that as well. It will be formally presented to the Finance Committee this afternoon for approval, and then to the full board on Wednesday for adoption of the new contract. I don't know if any board members had any questions?
Love to see updates as we progress.
Absolutely. As Cherie showed, we now have part of the presentation includes dashboards, so we'll be able to provide you some real-time metrics on how our program participants are performing. We'll move on for the update on our MWBE, DBE, and SDVOB fiscal year program highlights. I will be asking Deputy Chief Norman to make that report.
Okay, slight change. Ray Burke will deliver the performance against goals, and then I will
be asking Deputy Chief Burke to be making that report. Thank you.
Okay. All right, good afternoon. I'll start off with the MWBE, DBE, and SDVOB program finance fiscal year program highlights. For DBE Prime Award, the highlight was Voltamp, who is a electrical contractor They won a $49 million contract with C&D. As for DBE subcontractor, the contractor was Dagnachu. They won a subcontract with C&D also for electrical wiring. Prime contractor was Judlow. For MBE Prime, the prime contractor was AI Engineering. They won a $3.7 million contract with an HQ contract with Long Island Railroad for construction inspections. For MBE subcontractor, it was NIAC. They won a $3 million contract with New York City Transit C&D for land surveying. Prime contractor was CF Contractors. For WBE Prime, the contractor was Portec. They won an HQ contract for consulting services. For WB subcontractor, the contractor was Jersey Boring. They won a C&D contract with New York City Transit for site preparation. Prime contractor was CF Contractors. SDVOB Prime, the contractor was Transit Resource. They won an HQ Prime contract for subway car camera contract, car camera contract. And the SDVOB subcontractor was High Deck Engineering. They won a subcontract for C&D for engineering services. Prime contractor was CF Contractors. Okay, moving on to MWB and SDVOB payments. The MWBE, as far as MWBE is concerned, we are currently exceeding the second quarter participation when compared to last year's fiscal year for MWBE engagement. Out of our $1.3 billion in payments issued by the MTA, MWBE participation exceeded 34% of all payments. For SDVOB, we are currently exceeding the second quarter participation for SDVOBs when compared to last fiscal year. Of the $377 million in MTA payments issued during this fiscal year, over 9% of the payments were certified SDVOB firms. And lastly, for DBE, we are currently short of the DBE participation when compared to last fiscal year. This is driven by design-build contracts, awards which have underdeveloped scopes. Any questions? Good.
Okay,
That concludes my presentation.
sure. Okay, so now I will report on the MW SDVOB program outreach activities. Since January through September 2024, DDCR has participated in over 22 outreach events sponsored by various advocacy groups. Additionally, DDCR held 4 virtual DBE certification workshops and 3 virtual new firm orientations for vendors interested in doing business with the MTA. Of the 147 firms engaged last quarter, 25 had no MWDBE or SDVOB certifications, so we are currently exploring certification eligibility with those firms. Okay. As for DBE certification activity, currently we have, through September rather, we received 98 applications, new applications for DBE certification, which is an uptick from 2023. We also certified 72 firms, again an increase year over year. And the average processing time took a little longer than last year's same time, but we had more applications and we certified more vendors, so that accounts for why it took a few more days. So we are on target to meeting our goals for DBE certification this year. And lastly, I'm reporting on a success story of an MWBE. Rather, this firm is a WBE and DBE certified firm, RL Controls. We like to bring you examples of non-construction vendors that are doing work with the MTA. And RL Controls is a New York State certified WBE and DBE. They have been working with the MTA for more than 10 years and have successfully won discretionary and competitive bid opportunities. So far this state fiscal year, RL Controls has been awarded close to $5 million in discretionary and competitive bid opportunities and has become a reliable and trusted resource over the years. So Lena Walsh is a member of the American Railway Engineering and Maintenance of Way Association, the American Public Transportation Association, the Northeast Passenger Transportation Association, and the New England Railroad Club. Lena's knowledge, support, relationship, and candid approach allow RL Controls to help the industry and transit agencies to provide safe and reliable transportation to the riding public. So RL Controls has been a real partner to the MTA in providing us with a variety of goods and services over the years, and we appreciate their participation in the procurement process. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Chief Norman. Do any of the board members have any questions? So we wanted to move on with Q3 DDCR and DEI events. Just a few events we wanted to flag for members of the committee. On November 11th, we recognized employees of the MTA who served in the armed forces. Metro North Railroad honored the employees who served for their dedicated service and sacrifice, both as veterans and reservists, and public transportation professionals serving the New York metropolitan region. It was a really incredible event that was held at Grand Central Terminal. We also announced the opening of the Paratransit Assessment Center on October 31st, where MTA Chair and CEO Jano Lieber, Representative Dan Goldman, MTA Chief Accessibility Officer Camilo Arroyo, and Acting VP of Paratransit Rachel Cohen announced a surge in accessoride usage and cut the ribbon on a new Paratransit Assessment Center located at 3 Stone Street. And then lastly, on September 30th, the committee may recall, we announced that we would be hosting a design build event. It was an incredibly successful event. We were joined by Governor Hochul, who joined the MTA to announce its commitment to award a historic amount to historically underutilized businesses as part of our 2025-29 capital plan. We had a networking event that drew approximately 300 attendees. We had 19 prime contractors across the board. Incredibly successful event. Really proud of the work that we were able to do to pull this program together. Next, we'd like to provide an update on the activity of our employee resource groups. I'll ask Director Cockfield to submit that report.
Thank you. Good afternoon. So in the month of October, we had a panel discussion on advancing Black excellence in the workplace. They explored lessons moving forward. There was a panel discussion with leaders across the MTA, and they talked about Black excellence in the workplace and how leaders and organizations can better support and promote employees. Empowering Women in Transportation, they led our Making Strides Against Breast Cancer Walk in October. They, for the second year in a row, spearheaded this initiative. EWT expanded many things this year with the walk. This year they included T-shirts and partnerships across the MTA, and the goal was to raise $30,000, and we raised over $40,000. So kudos to Empowering Women in Transportation. All Generation started their Toy and Coat Drive. They do this as the annual initiative that they have, and it's benefiting the Henry Street Settlement. It's still ongoing. Today is the last day of donations. Last year, All Generational led the MTA family in showing our generosity by donating 678 toys, 444 coats, 204 miscellaneous items, which included sweaters, hats, gloves, books, and baby items. In November, our Veterans Employee Resource Group held their annual Veteran Day ceremony at 2 Broadway. They had guest speakers from the Veterans Affairs, and they spoke about all of the things that the Veterans Affairs offer to employees. We had someone talk from the Women's Veterans Coordinator, Medical Foster Home Coordinator, and talked about suicide prevention. Pride Express had a lunch and learn. The presentation included a timeline of historical events that has shaped the LGBTQI+ rights in the workplace community. They discussed landmark events such as the Stonewall riots, the evolution of anti-discrimination laws, and the ongoing challenges being faced today. Young Professionals, which was our newest employee resource group, they had a speed networking event, which gave their members the opportunity to meet people from different agencies and crafts across the MTA. They were able to introduce themselves, practice their elevator pitch, and to describe their roles and responsibilities in a networking speed session. Young Professionals ERG builds community and strengthens the MTA's internal team culture and creates a fun and vibrant, cohesive workplace that draws and keeps talented professionals. And last Friday, Begin had a panel, not a panel discussion, they had a conversation, with the chairman, which was moderated by their co-leaders, Robin Rowland and James Richardson. The discussion ranged from topics including congestion pricing, the capital plan, crime and safety, the chair's vision for 2025, and the chair's personal professional anecdotes. The chair recognized Begin's dedication to building a community with the MTA. This aligns with the broader mission of all ERG, which strives to create an inclusive and supportive work environment. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Director Cockfield. I don't know if any of the board members had any questions. Mr. Chairman, I believe we have someone.
Yes. Ms. Fulford, can we unmute Chair Lopez, who's online right now? Thank you. Well done, everyone, and welcome, Avita.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Dr. Rizzo, Madam President, for just allowing me to just give a general comment. I do want to thank the staff for always striving hard to provide and present all of this information to us on a quarterly basis, which sometimes can be a little confusing, but I think everybody has done such a great job at reflecting the reporting requirements and the numbers, et cetera. Having said that, I know with an incoming new administration at the federal level, I don't know, and I hope not, but perhaps some policies and or procedures may change impacting reporting or impacting activities that we do. Not so much for this current fiscal year, which is my understanding it doesn't end until September 30th of 2025, but as the Congress gears up for the fiscal year 2026 budget, perhaps you can keep us informed as to any changes or perhaps any policy changes in policy or notices that we should know about as the year progresses. So it's just something that I wanted to share, and I wanted to say it now before I forgot, considering this is just our last meeting for the year. Thanks.
Thank you. Any comments or follow-up? Okay. I think hearing none, we just need a motion to adjourn.
I think you have a second.
Second it? I guess second.
Yeah,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, before
Please.
everyone
Sure.
just goes on to their next meeting, I know it's a very packed day. I did want to take the opportunity to publicly thank the members of the DDCR team that have just done an outstanding job over this past calendar year. It's a ton of work. It's a lot of data. It's a lot of information. It's a lot of long days, and sometimes they bleed into evenings and weekends. And this has just been an incredibly passionate and committed and talented team, and it is my honor to work with each and every one of them. And so before the calendar year expires, I want to publicly make sure that everyone understands my appreciation and my gratitude for being able to work with such a committed team, not just the folks that are around the table today, but we actually have members of our DDCR team in the audience as well. And those are the folks, that the power behind the thrones that you see here that are actually getting all the work done. So I would just want to thank everyone publicly.
Hear, hear. Thank you all so much.
That concludes our report, Mr. Chairman and
Yes,
committee.
yes. Happy holidays to everyone. We're adjourned.
Happy holidays. Happy New Year.